good, Wagering World? It's your boy 5 Star in Vegas. I'm broadcasting live as always from my home in beautiful Summerlin, Nevada. And here with my co-host right down the street. As usual, broadcasting live from the black hole on Trop in 215, the only Sacramento Kings fan that I know. What's good, Spreader? How are you?
Man, I am excited. We had a great weekend of football. All the overreactions that we expected, and I can't wait to talk about it with you. We actually haven't talked that much since the games yet. So usually we're texting a lot, but I've been super busy. So I can't wait to hear your thoughts on how everything shook out.
Down to the big game, man. We got our week off. This is the week. There's the little break between the Super Bowl when guys like us get a little moment to take a breath after a long NFL season. Big Super Bowl coming up, a rematch coming up in Super Bowl 59 of the same one we saw in Super Bowl 57 with the Eagles and the Chiefs facing off once again. Let's jump right into the past, Fred. No time to waste.
All right. The first thing we need to talk about, 5-Star, how excited was I? You know, I've supported her for years, and I kind of gave up the dream that it would ever happen.
Yeah.
I always thought Madison Keys was semifinals and done in every Grand Slam, right?
Yeah.
She just felt like she just couldn't get over the hump, and you know she's not as old as you realize, but because she's been on the tour for so long, because she came in at a young age. What a great victory, and of course Sabalenka's a great player, but for Keys to get her first Grand Slam win, I was so happy for her. I wish I would have taken the money line. We took the games, and the money line came through too. What did you see? Because that to me was the best thing that's happened in 2025 in sports so far.
She came out of nowhere, and I did lay a little bit on the money line strictly because after she beat Swiatek, I think they gave her so much momentum, so much focus. She was able to hit with Sabalenka. Both of them had 29 winners, and we spoke about that before the match, that Keys was one of the few ladies who could hit with Sabs, who's dominated on hard courts over the last few years. She stops her from having a three-peat at the Australian Open. Sabs was really upset after that match, too. You saw her just start slamming her racket everywhere because she pretty much owned Madison Keys and she was going for a three-peat. But it was Maddie's time, man. Everything lined up for her perfectly. The game was pretty even, man. Well, the match was pretty even. You had both of them served about 70% first serve percentage, and then Sabalenka had only two more unforced errors with 33-31 for Keys. But as I said, it just was Keys' time, man. She had the crowd with her, all the momentum. Just really good thing for her. Now, she's not allowed to play in the 250 that she was scheduled for in Austin, Texas, because she's not a qualifier, as Pagulia is the only one in the top 10 that can go over there. They only allow one top 10 player in these 250 tournaments to kind of like even out the field. So I don't know if Keys is going to take an extra week off since she can't go to Austin, but great job by her.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Let's move to the men's side. Sinner gets back-to-back Australian Opens. After all the excitement on Saturday, it was kind of a boring match. So, hey, a little chance for us to get to sleep early there. I didn't stay up for that one. It seemed pretty obvious what was going to happen early. What did you see in that one? And did you watch the whole match, or did you just catch some shut-eye like me?
Yeah, I got some shut-eye. I was just hoping that Zverev would win one set because we were trying to get the over 39. Well, I got 38.5. Didn't even come close. As Sinner is starting to get into that level that we saw with the big three, where certain tournaments they're his and they're on his racket. Amazing growth in such a short period of time by Yannick Sinner. I still remember seeing him playing next gen maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. Little skinny redhead Italian kid, a frail type of walk. He like his body was so frail and his build. I didn't know how good he was going to be moving forward. I thought he was going to be dealing with a lot of injuries, and that's why a lot of people kind of look at him sideways about the illegal, the enhancement stuff, the illegal performance enhancement stuff, because the main thing that people use those type of drugs for is recovery and being able to be available. And that was the thing he was dealing with the most, was his body not being able to hold up for the rigors of the tennis tours. You see Alcaraz is built like a defensive back, and All the rest of those guys are really strong, even though, they might not have been the tallest guys. And some of them were tall, but all of them were stout and really sturdy. He's the first really frail kid that's really, made it on tour. Super big forehand, great coach. I know his coach. His coach is one of the all-time best. He's always in Vegas. So props to Yannick Sinner, man, for being able to find a way to keep himself healthy, whichever way it is. Hopefully it's not by performance-enhancing drugs. Hopefully he's doing it clean, because he's a very likable kid and a very marketable kid. But kind of like with Ig, after that type of stuff's on your head, with you already with beating people in the locker room, it's going to be hard to kind of live it down. So he wins, but it wasn't celebrated as much by the fans of the game.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see where it goes moving forward because simply on the court, he is an enjoyable watch. And you take out those allegations. I mean, he's a fairly likable guy. He's not a full-on heel or anything. So probably you're right. Probably should be more popular than he is, right? But
what happened was the deal with the performance enhancers. Before that, I think that he was on the verge of stardom, man. Especially these new times, everyone's gonna always look to talk down on people and try to make people look bad. It's just the society, and we're definitely in a glass half empty society. Whereas I try to be a glass half full person. But I don't know. It's weird to me just because, as I said, Center, man, I always worried about his hip and like his problems with keeping his body up. But now he's playing every tournament and he's looking good. He sat out some last year, but we found out the reason why was because the tester came back. But like I said, we got a while until the next major. We'll see how he does when he gets on the clay. Does Alcaraz win the French Open, or can Sinner continue his dominance and end up winning on clay? Because he can't play on clay. That actually used to be his favorite surface. So we'll see what happens with the tennis tours. We got a while until the French Open.
Yeah, I still like Alcaraz, but Sinner's game, it does translate well to clay. And if Alcaraz wasn't so elite on clay, I think I would like that a little more. But if I were to place a bet right now, I know it's shocking, but I would take Carlos. But let's move on to the NFL, where a lot of fans are going to be glass half full after this one, or glass half empty. But I don't think the Commanders fans are one of them. Of course, they did fall short to the Philadelphia Eagles, and so I was watching that one, and we won Washington, and I thought they got some couple rough calls there early in the game, but in the end, Philly proved that it didn't matter. They were just the better team. I mean, other than the quarterback, where did Washington have an advantage? They just dominated up front, especially their offensive line. So congratulations to Philadelphia. Washington's got a bright future. And I always say, as I'm wearing my Raiders hoodie and have the Raiders background on, right? They're an inspiring story because this is one of the few sports where it happens, right? I mean, Washington was down in the dumps last year. They changed their owner, new coach, new quarterback. The rest of the roster still has a lot of work, but they're a good, exciting team. So they got plenty of cap space. They got to hit on these draft picks, but it's an exciting time to be a Washington Commanders fan. What did you see in that game? Because I thought, it was a pretty good performance by Washington. They have a lot to build on, but Philly showed that they're still one step ahead.
Well, I think that we're undervaluing Jalen Hurts. He gets too much criticism for winning. And he said that his coach finally let him go at the press conference because he could only run the plays that Sirianni and the OC call. So he's saying that they don't let him throw it around really. So because they don't let him throw it around really, he doesn't get a chance to show that he can throw it around. And I think that's true because, men and women lie. Numbers sometimes lie, but success doesn't, and W's for sure don't. And he's won a lot of games, and this is his second trip to the Super Bowl. And it's just not because of the roster. They could sub another quarterback in for him that's the backup, and I guarantee you they wouldn't have won these games. The biggest play of this game that no one's going to talk about or remember is when Washington scored and cut it 14-12, and I don't know why. At that point right there, Dan Quinn. I know he's a risk taker, but it's no need to go for two right there. I feel like after that huge play by Terry McLaurin with the Superman type effort to score that 36-yard touchdown, you just kick the extra point, keep your good vibes going. Next drive, Philly's drive, and this is an opportunity right now for Washington to put its feet in the dirt and say this is about to be a game. It's fourth and about 5. The Eagles have just crossed the 50. They're maybe on like their 45, just slightly out of field goal range. They decide to go for it on 4th and 5. And Jalen Hurts throws a dime to A.J. Brown down the sidelines for a big play, maybe 30, 40-yard gain, almost scores a touchdown, but moves the chains. In a got-to-have-it moment, Jalen Hurts made the biggest throw of the game. Perfect placement. A.J. Brown catches it. No one ever talks about that. Like, we sit up here and let the media blow the horn of Josh Allen and Herbert and all these guys put up these normal, mediocre numbers, especially in bigger games. But Jalen Hurts continues to get it done and gets no love at all. Even we're saying now that a rookie quarterback is better than him, and he's been to the Super Bowl twice. So I think that what I take from this game is Jalen Hurts is undervalued. People don't appreciate him. People don't respect what he's done on the field. Even though Howie Roseman does a really great job of putting great things around him, it's not as easy as people think. People, they follow Jalen Hurts on that offense. A.J. Brown talks all that mess, but at the end of the day, he loves Jalen Hurts too. He's just a guy that's a diva who, like most receivers, wants the ball. So I think that this game was more about the greatness of Jalen Hurts and the underappreciation of him. If Saquon Barkley goes crazy, we cashed every prop in this game. Too. This was the prop heaven game. I had the over 23 and a half longest rush for Saquon. He got that on the first time. He got the ball, the first play on offense. He was able to get that. I also had Jaden Daniels to go over 280 yards rushing and passing yards, which he did accomplish. I also had McLaurin to score a touchdown at plus 140, which hit. A.J. Brown to score a touchdown at plus 145 that hit. Austin Eckler to go over 4.5 catches, which he hits right on the 5, and Zach Ertz to go over 5.5 catches. So it was a really great game for me because of all the props I hit. Played a little bit on the tease, as you know, spread. I'm not a big teaser guy, so I didn't even really play that hard. I just played the total on, and the over went over pretty easy on this game, man. So it was a really successful game. But as I said, the thing that I take from it most is how long we're going to continue to underappreciate Jalen Hurts. The one Super Bowl that he played in, he went toe for toe with Patrick Mahomes. So, and was clearly the best player on the Eagles team. We see if Saquon Barkley and that defense with Vic Fangio can get them over the hump this time as they face the Kansas City Chiefs again.
All right, let's talk about the Kansas City Chiefs, of course. The funniest thing to me is everybody on Twitter saying they're going to quit watching the NFL.
Nobody's going to stop watching.
I did that once. You know what year I did that 5-star?
What year was that?
So much money at that time for me because I wasn't full-time betting, but so it was a lot for me at the time, on the Saints against the Rams.
Yeah.
You know that pass interference?
Of course I do. You know I do. I'm a diehard.
I deleted every NFL podcast, right? I'm never watching this again. My girlfriend at the time was like, "You love the NFL. Why are you doing this?" And I was so mad. Guess what I did 1 week and 7 days later? I watched the Super Bowl, right? Because your feelings come down and everything. But I understand the controversy, and it does get frustrating when it just seems like every single close call goes their way. But at the end of the day, they put themselves in this situation. They're so poised under pressure. That's kind of what sucks when it comes down to these playoff games. If it's a close, exciting game, these calls are going to be magnified, right? For example, I don't think the Commanders got the best whistle, but that's not the story of the game, right? Because the Eagles were so good. In this one, a lot of people tried to make it the story of the game, and I thought it was a little disappointing just because we are seeing something really great and unprecedented here with Kansas City. And that coaching staff is just too good. What did you think about that game? And I don't want to detract from Josh Allen at all. I think the Kansas City Chiefs beat the Buffalo Bills. I do not think that Patrick Mahomes beat Josh Allen. What did you think?
I think that much like Jalen Hurts, Kansas City coach has been calling those same plays for Alex Smith. It didn't look the same. Patrick Mahomes is the difference. Everybody's trying to figure out a way to downplay this kid's greatness. And this is the problem Patrick Mahomes faces. One, he's not liked by a lot of black dudes who are so pro-black because they feel like because he married a white woman, even though his mom is white, and most people marry women who are similar to their mom because when you are a child, your first love is your mother. So they try to take away his black card because of that. So some black dudes don't like him because he's not black enough for them. But he wears Louis everywhere he goes. He's always got on shades. He plays with style and flair that you could tell he's a black dude. Okay. Then you have some white guys that don't like him because he's considered black to them. So they are always going for Brady and want to make sure no one overcomes Brady. So Patrick Mahomes receives a lot of hate. They always are trying to downplay what he's done, acting like Andy Reid has won anything before he came along. Andy Reid got to a Super Bowl, lost. Got to a AFC championship game, NFC championship game, lost. He's never been successful when it really mattered until he had Mahomes because the X and O's are cool, but the Jimmys and Joes are the ones who get it done. You cannot replace Patrick Mahomes. The success that he's had early in his career reminds me a lot of Tiger Woods. Like he's coming on the scene, he's dominating early, and they're mad about it. And a lot of people are trying to find excuses to take away from what this kid has done. And all he's done is just play his ass off and beat you in every type of way. He's the one quarterback with no deficiencies in this game. He has no weak spots. You want to play small ball, he can outthink you. He's going to check to the right plays. He's going to make the easy throws. He's going to make the fabulous plays. If you need him to throw for 400 yards and win the game and carry the team, he's done that too. It's nothing that Mahomes cannot do on the field as a quarterback. And a lot of people are just jealous of him, man. It's as simple as that. They're jealous of him. They're trying to find a way to hate. They're always trying to find some type of way to make it where he's on the, well, if this guy had him or this coaching staff, but Andy Reid ain't won nothing without Patrick Mahomes, man. So I don't get why people continue to hate on this kid or dislike it. Some of it has to do with hatred. Some of it has to do with jealousy. Some of it has to do with bigotry. It's a lot of different things that compile, but Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback we've ever seen play the game, bro. Simple as that. As far as the talent, IQ, ability, Brady's not better than him. Brady just has won more titles than him. And the first couple wins that Brady won as a Super Bowl champ, it was because of Belichick and the defense. He wasn't doing shit. Whereas then you look at Mahomes, most of the games that they won early was because of him. He's the one when they were a passing team and relied on the offense. He was the one that was carrying that team, having them go against guys like Brady, who's a Hall of Famer at the end of his career, seen every defense, seen everything, and he's going toe to toe with him. So I just don't get the Patrick Mahomes hate. I know people are tired of him winning, but let's come on, man. When you see greatness, you got to accept it, man, and call it for what it's for. And that guy, even with all of the stuff he's done, that's why this year they had the best record in the league, two-time defending Super Bowl champs. Yet everybody was saying the Bills were better than them with nobody. The Bills don't got shit on their team. They suck. But people just want Josh Allen to be better than them so bad that, yeah, the Bills are better than them this year. They're the number one power ranked team. When it's nothing about their roster that said they were better than the Chiefs. Nothing about their coaching staff that said they're better than the Chiefs. The Chiefs practice during the year, during regular season. That's one thing that Nick Rice says that is true. During the season, the Kansas City Chiefs know how to win so good. They understand how the NFL is, and they have the right quarterback that has mastered this stuff so much that they try stuff during the year, man. They're not giving you everything. But during the playoffs, when you see playoff Pat, he's going to give it to you, man. There's no way around it. So I just wish people would take time to step back, think about the times that we are in, and appreciate Patrick Mahomes Jr. Patrick Mahomes II is the best quarterback talent we've seen in the NFL throughout the history. So just accept it. I know you don't like the kid. I know he gets on your nerves for some reason. I know his family gets on your nerves or whatever, but on the field, it's nobody better.
Well, Five Star, I know that people in the comments liked when we were arguing and stuff, but unfortunately, they're not going to get it on this breakdown because I completely agree with everything you say. But I also wanted to say that to point out, hey guys, we do read all these comments. We appreciate them. The views have been going up, and the YouTube
Yeah.
bumps you up if you do leave a comment. So we appreciate you guys doing that, and that's why you'll see Five Star, and I try to thumbs up them all, and Five Star will respond. So we appreciate you guys interacting and helping us build the channel. Let's move to the present. Five Star. These first two games, the breakdowns will be all you, and then I'm going to help you with the second two. But in the college basketball world, that is your domain. That is your forte. And the first one that we want to talk about, the Houston Cougars travel to West Virginia. Houston's laying 8 here on the road.
Houston is a juggernaut. Kelvin Sampson has done a great job of just implementing on these teams. No matter who's there, they can switch out the five. Nothing changes. It's the same thing. They're going to play super, super good man-to-man defense. They're going to defensive rebound, and they're also going to be the best in the country on the offensive boards in order to get that ball back to their shooters. What Coach Sampson always says he's famous for is on offense, I don't coach offense. You want to shoot the ball, go get it off the backboard. So they play a style of just really hard, really aggressive. And it's funny because now with the Rockets having Emu Doke, it's kind of the same thing. You know, it's just like we're going to beat you by playing defense and just out hustling you and wanting it more. The Cougars have really built a good brand with that. Won the last 10 straight games, man. They ran the Big 12. Everyone's saying, oh, they're coming in. We're going to see how Houston does when they come to the Big 12. They have the best 2-year record in the Big 12 in the history of the Big 12. And I think they continue it today. I'm seeing now it's went up to -9.5. Me and Hakeem, we always play first half Houston. That's an automatic bet for us. So I'll be on Houston -4 first half on this game. The client's and down. I'll probably lay for the whole game as well. They have not lost this year on the road. They like to go in people's houses and win, and I think that they do it again tonight. West Virginia is a good team. I really like their coach, Coach DeFreeze. A bad thing for Coach DeFreeze was he lost his son Tucker. Tucker was the best player on his team, and he traveled with him and moved from them being a really, really good team at Drake in the Missouri Valley Conference, and they took the big step to the Big 12 in West Virginia. But unfortunately, Tucker DeFreeze got hurt early in the year, and I think he's out for the season, I believe. Javon Smile came over there from Oklahoma State. Really good player, good point guard. But, man, Houston's just too big and too aggressive for West Virginia. They're not going to be able to score a lot of points. They're going to have to hope that they can shoot threes and make them. And I don't see Houston allowing them to make a lot of threes because Houston is really good at running people off the line and defending the three. So give me the Cougs first half -4, and I'll take the game -8 if you could find an 8. I would not take the 9.5. I like the 8 though.
All right. Wisconsin will travel to take on Maryland. Terrapins laying 4.5 at home. How are you approaching this one?
Maryland has quietly been a really, really good team this year. They don't get a lot of hype. They're one of the teams that's kind of flying under the radar. But, man, they've been good. They're 12-1 this year at home. And then you got Wisconsin coming in. Wisconsin is a good team, too. As always, they're going to be good. Greg Gard does a really good job of putting together, a solid team over there. That's what he does. But they're not that good on the road. They're 2-3 this year on the road. Maryland, what I like most about them is their ability to put the ball in the basket. They got two bigs that are really good. Andrew Reese's brother, Julian Reese, who's a baller going to the NBA. He's going to be a name just like his sister, man. He just went off against a really good Illinois team, 27 points, 17 rebounds. He's a lefty like his sister, too. That's weird. I wonder did they learn in the driveway to start shooting left-handed or are they natural lefties? But him and his sister are both left-handed. And then you got Derek Queen, who I think is going to be a top draft pick playing center for Maryland. He's a big guy that can play defense, block shots, and he also can step out and shoot the three. And then they have a transfer, Jacoby Gillespie. This kid, I've been watching him a while. I believe he came from, oh, man, I can't remember which little school he came from. Richmond. I believe he came from Richmond. Jacoby Gillespie can fill it up, man. Really good player. Selton Miguel, they had as a transfer as well. So their coach, Kevin Willard, did a really good job of getting that transfer portal and hitting it hard. And I think that Maryland is a really good offensive team. I also like Maryland at home. They just a really good team offensively shooting the three. Wisconsin is rugged, as I said, but they have not been good at home. This is a big time game for conference standings, and I think that Maryland's going to come to play on this. The numbers telling me that they want you to take Wisconsin. I'm going with Maryland to get it done. I think Maryland separates at the end. So give me Maryland -4.5 on this one spread.
All right, 5-star liking the Terrapins there. All right, now we can move into my wheelhouse. First one, this is a great game. Denver Nuggets, who have been playing well lately. And to me, the Nuggets, I love this story because it just shows you how much that fit matters, right? Russ was so out of place on the Lakers, and, you know, I love all those Lakers fans, Ski and Wham and his buddies there. They were just trashing him. I'm like, this poor guy. He's not as bad as it looks. It was just a ball-dominant guy with LeBron wasn't going to work. Now he's with Jokic, who can really amplify his skill set with the cutting, the passing, getting to the rim. And he's not Gary Payton, right? He's not the glove. But the defense has been pretty good. And with his athleticism, you know, he can at least slow some people down. So while everyone kind of wrote the Denver Nuggets off for dead, you know, they're still going. And I would argue they still have the best player in the NBA currently, Nikola Jokic. However, they're heading to New York to take on a red-hot Knicks team. 5-star, the Knicks have won 4 games in a row. And not only that, I mean, look at the fashion in which they're beating these teams. You know, you talk about me being the only Sacramento Kings fan that you know. Kings came into that game pretty hot. Lost by 23. Then Memphis Grizzlies, a young team that I'm really excited about, right? Always plays hard, well coached, a lot of athletes. They beat them 143-106. So they're on the third game of a homestand, and they won the first 2 just by blowout. They've won 4 in a row. The Denver Nuggets are on the third game of a road trip, and they've lost both of them. First loss was to Minnesota. Second one was to the Chicago Bulls. And they were favored in both games. So Denver, you know, while I'm excited about their team in the playoffs, not playing well right now. I like the Knicks. I'm laying the 3 here. They've been playing so well at home lately. This team is hot, and I just like the way they're going. I'm riding the hot hand, even though I might argue the Nuggets are a better team overall and have a better chance to win the NBA championship this year. I like the New York Knicks in this game. I'm laying the 3. Where are you at?
I'll be on the Knicks first half. The Knicks tend to start fast. They also have the confidence of smacking the shit out of Denver earlier this year. They put 145 on them. So it's crazy how you got these coaches like Coach Tibbs, Tom Thibodeau, and my guy over there in Indiana. Both these guys were like the biggest defensive wizards. All we care about is defense. And now they're like the highest scoring teams in the league. Mm-hmm. So great job by both of those coaches being able to change their philosophy and play towards the rules of the new NBA. So I'm with you. I like the Knicks on this one. I'll take the Knicks first half and the Knicks for the game on this one. I think that the Knicks are really a solid team. They're hot, and I think that they're really cohesive on offense. They really play well offensively together. And I think the Nuggets are just getting through the regular season. And, you know, they got a lot of veterans, including the 3-time MVP and Jokic, and their mind is on, you know, when it's time to really play, and that's out in April. You know, they're just getting through these games. So in New York, you're from Denver. We all know how these NBA guys are, man. It's a road trip. They in New York. They probably went out, hung a little bit. There's a lot to do in New York. So give me the Knicks, man. I think the Knicks get it done first half and for the game.
Yeah, that Miami, New York, LA home court advantage isn't necessarily the crowd. Let's talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves, who travel to Phoenix. Phoenix is short dog on the line right now, but +1, +1.5. Pretty much just pick the winner. And I like that you put this game on here, 5-star. This is an interesting matchup here because the Suns doing pretty well lately. And the big key to the move, and give the coaching staff Budenholzer credit for getting especially Beal to buy in, but moving Nurkic and Beal to the bench, now your scoring's more spaced out. I always said that when they made the trade. Why do you need another ball-dominant scorer here on Phoenix? You know, I mean, those two guys they had, Bridges and Johnson, would have made this team elite, you know. But now you're getting the constant scoring. I think it's done well. Nick Richards, I said it was a sneaky pickup at the time, and some people kind of laughed at me. I said, well, you know, for what he's going to be asked to do, I think he fits the role perfectly. He's not being asked to score. All he needs to do is provide rim protection, box out, grab rebounds, and be effective on the switch and the pick and roll, which he's not super effective, but he's definitely fast enough to where they can switch all five. They don't have to play him down low. So I thought that was a good pickup, right? So the Suns have won 8 of their last 10 games because of the fact that they moved to the bench and they made that move. Minnesota's playing well too, though. They come in winning 3 in a row, 1 over Dallas, 1 over Denver that we just talked about, and over the Atlanta Hawks, who are sneakily playing well right now as well. So both teams come in playing well, and they match up well. Even though Phoenix has won 8 of their last 10, Timberwolves have beat the Suns 5 times in a row. And they played earlier this year. Now the Suns covered. It was a 7.5-point spread. The Timberwolves only won by 3. But now it's just pick the winner here. I didn't play this game yet. What are your thoughts on it? I think it's a really interesting game, and I think it'll really help us find out where these teams are.
I just think that Anthony Edwards looks up to KD. He's one of those guys that was kind of like his hero growing up. So I think that Anthony Edwards always gives his best effort when it comes to playing against Phoenix. And I think that the T-Wolves kind of get up for that game as well. So me personally, it's Timberwolves or pass. I can't see myself back in the Suns. The Suns have quietly got back into the race, but even with that said, I just don't trust the Suns for some reason, man. I don't know why, but something about Bradley Beal and KD at this point in their careers, I just don't trust them. I do think Booker's still one of the top players in the league, but I don't know how happy he is right now being in Phoenix, as we've heard his name in several trade rumors. Good coach over there and the former champion with the Milwaukee Bucks. Maybe his message is finally getting across. You know, they played better lately, but I don't trust Phoenix for some reason. I think that, as I said, Timberwolves are pass for me on this one.
5-star, let's move to the future because these awards will be given out, but the markets are still open. I didn't even know they had this award, so we'll start with this and I'll let you lead the way. They have an assistant coach of the year now? Is this new?
Yeah.
Has this been going on for a while? I can't tell you any past assistant coach of the year winners.
Yeah, it's been some. I think they do it every year. This was a good list. The finalists are Joe Brady from Buffalo, who's done a good job, really, with James Cook. But they act like it's Josh Allen. But the great job that Joe Brady did was not put all of the offense on Josh Allen and be over-relying on him and making him play Cam Newton-style football, and instead incorporating James Cook and making him be the first option and establishing the run game and that offensive line with Deion Dawkins. And it made life a lot easier for Josh Allen, as we saw this year. Another one, Brian Flores. We saw the job he did with Minnesota. He needed a couple more players. Really bad break for him in the fact that the tragic accident happened to Kyrie Jackson because they drafted him to be one of those cornerbacks that he's missing right now. So, you know, in a much bigger deal than football, the kid loses his life, unfortunately, man, in a car accident before the season. But he needs more help on that defense to really be who they can be. But Brian Flores is an excellent coach. Aaron Glenn did a really good job with Detroit in that defense until the injuries approached him, and now he's the Jets head coach. And then another finalist, Ben Johnson, who's now the Bears coach. I didn't know Ben Johnson had so much charisma and was so outgoing. He's kind of showed some character that I didn't know he had since he's became the Chicago head coach, man. He's a little fiery something. So we'll see how that goes with him. But he did, as always, a great job. But my pick is Vic Fangio. The OG changed everything for the Eagles, man. The Eagles had fell off last year. Sirianni was on his ropes. He was about to be out of town. Him hiring Vic Fangio changed everything for him, man. That defense became just one of the best in the whole NFL, and Vic Fangio has done this everywhere he's gone, and I think he's the best assistant coach of this year.
All right, so that's who you like in that one. Let's move to one that I am aware of, and that's the coach of the year. The candidates are Dan Campbell, Kevin O'Connell, Sean Payton, Dan Quinn, Quinn, Andy Reid. Who would you give it to, and who do you think will win it? Because those can be different.
I think that who I like and also who will win it will be Dan Quinn. How can you not? He made it to the NFC Championship game with a team who hadn't been to the playoffs in 20 years and a rookie quarterback. So everything that Dan Quinn brought to Washington is just next level, man. Just to have such a quick turnaround like that, believe me, out of every fan base that lost in the playoffs this year, none is more happy than the Washington Commanders fan base because they had no idea that this year would end with them losing the NFC Championship game. So Dan Quinn is just the beginning for him. Give him the coach of the year, in my opinion.
All right, Dan Quinn, and tough to argue with that one. All right, another one that I don't really even understand this award, the comeback player of the year. So like they made it like you can't just coming back from sucking. So, but then I don't know. They said Darnold is eligible. I don't know exactly how it works. So this is one that I actually don't pay a lot of attention to. Maybe you can explain it to me more. Like, because I see Darnold on the list, but what is he coming back from? Just being bad?
Just
I didn't know if
ass, right?
Yeah, so it's weird. I didn't know if it's coming back from an injury or just being better.
And DeMar Hamlin is back too. The finalists are Sam Darnold, J.K. Dobbins, who was from an injury, Christian Gonzalez, who was from an injury, DeMar Hamlin, who was not. He almost died on the field a year ago. Last year, he was the comeback player of the year. A guy that I know had a big ticket, put like $5,000 on him to win, and he did. So DeMar Hamlin, I don't understand this award either, but I know out of all these names that's available, Joe Burrow is going to win it because they can't give him the MVP because the team was bad this year. But whatever he came back from, Joe Burrow is the best player out this group. So give it to Joe Burrow.
All right, we will see how that one works out. And like I said, I'm not even sure how it works, but I do know how this one works. 5-star, the defensive rookie of the year. I think I know who I like for this one, but the candidates are Cooper DeJean, Brandon Fix, Quinion Mitchell, Chop Robinson, and Jared Verse. I'm going with the last name on the list. 5-star, he's got a chance to make a Micah Parsons-like impact in this league. I was just thinking today or yesterday when I was out there, doing my stuff. What if Aaron Donald was still on the Rams? They might have won that freaking game.
Yeah.
They might have beat Philadelphia if they had Aaron Donald. But they're excited to have Jared Verse there. He's my defensive rookie of the year. Who do you like?
And what's crazy is they have another Florida State guy on the other side of Braden Fisk at D tackles playing his ass off, and who's a candidate for this too. I think that Jared Verse wins by landslide just simply for how he ended the season. He's also the one that you can look at and say, man, this guy is an impact player. You look at Cooper DeJean, great job, beat the stereotype of, white guys don't play running back and corner. We're seeing a lot of that now. I don't know why they ever said that because I know a bunch of them in college who can ball. It's just they didn't get a lot of opportunities because the same way like how black dudes used to go through with quarterback, not a lot of GMs are looking for white guys to play cornerback or for running back. So great job by Cooper DeJean ending that myth, showing that, white guys can jump because he was playing ball and he's one of the best in the league. And he's only going to get better, man. I like Cooper DeJean a lot. I liked him in Iowa. He's always been a baller. As I said, Braden Fisk, really great job. But D tackle came up from Florida State. Kenyon Mitchell was a steal. The Eagles, that was just all Howie Rosen found a gem in him. Chop Robinson can play, but Jared Verse's head and shoulders above all these guys. He's going to anchor that Rams defense for a really long time, man. And maybe they can talk Aaron Donald into coming back. I doubt it because after he's chilling like he is and, haven't been working out probably and just, relaxing, it's hard to come back. But maybe they can get him to come back.
All right, the next one, offensive rookie of the year. I took a shot on Brock Bowers at 20-1, and I would have liked to see that one come home, but unfortunately, I think Jaden Daniels was too good. Open and shut. Give it to Jaden. I mean, not much to talk about here.
There's nothing to talk about on that. They took a team as a rookie to the NFC Championship game, was the top quarterback in the fourth quarter in the whole NFL as a rookie. Did everything. But you look at this class, this is a really good rookie class, one of the best we've seen. Brock Bowers is a future star. He's already a star. He's already the number one player on offense for the Raiders. Malik Neighbors is already the number one player on offense for the Giants as a rookie. Bo Nix is already the captain of the Broncos, going to be their quarterback for 15 years. Brian Thomas Jr. is already the best receiver for the Jaguars, and he wasn't even that big of a name at LSU. He was like the third guy on that team, man. So a really strong rookie class this year. I look forward to these guys doing some great things in the NFL. But of course, we cashed Jay Daniels plus 500. I think that ticket that I have is pretty much gold because a guy tried to buy it from me. I threw it up on one of those little market apps to see what kind of vibe I would get back for it, and I got a lot of offers. So I think that one's going to cash.
Yeah, that's an open and shut case. So congratulations to Jaden Daniels, well deserved. Let's go to the defensive player of the year. The article is basically saying Patrick Surtain is the favorite, but they did not give it to him. So also Zach Brown, Myles Garrett, Trey Hendrickson, the aforementioned Patrick Surtain, and TJ Watt. Through week 10, I would have given this award to TJ Watt, but 5-star, we talked about Yannick Sinner earlier, and that's all I'll really say there. But sometimes it's hard to keep your body holding up. When you're doing that, so I think that's going to be an issue with Watt moving forward. I think Surtain deserves to win. What are your thoughts?
This was tough for me because I'm an offensive guy. I watch defense and what they do as a total, as a team, but not as much individually as I do with offense. I'm an ex-quarterback. I coached offense. Offense was an offensive coordinator. I was a quarterback coach. That I've always developed and played on offense. When I was a kid, I always played offense. So I'm not an expert on what would make someone qualify, but what I do know is usually it's a defensive lineman that wins. The last cornerback that won was Stephon Gilmore, and then before that, you can go through it time and time again. It wasn't another DB that won until 2010, and that was 15 years ago. Troy Polamalu, and then before that, Charles Woodson in 2009. It's been dominated by rush ends and defensive ends. Myles Garrett won it last year. I wouldn't be surprised if he wins it again. He has the biggest name out this group. Surprising name was Zach Brown, man. He was like a special teams guy for my Saints, coming in from Wisconsin. And just show you how great Vic Fangio is. He's turned him to a really top of the line Mike linebacker. So on this one, my opinion is I got to roll whatever you say. If you say Patrick Surtain, I gotta go with it, but betting man, I'd probably say Myles Garrett.
Yeah, I think that the team's success is going to end up pushing it over the top. I think if you swap the records, they give it to Garrett. But obviously, Surtain got a lot of attention. When we went into the season, we didn't think that Denver was going to be that good on defense, and they ended up being a really top defense. And Cleveland regressed a little bit. They were still a pretty good defense. They were in a tough spot too. They didn't get a lot to work with. All right, we will see what happens there. Let's move to the offensive player of the year. We got Saquon Barkley, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson. I mean, this is a close. I think you can make a good argument for any of them. I think Saquon will win. It's tough to look past those other names though and think that they don't deserve it. I can make a good. If you gave me any one of those 5 names and you say, Spread, make an argument right now, I can make a solid argument for any of those 5 names. To me, this is the closest race of everything we've discussed. Who do you like here?
It's going to be Saquon, and the reason why is because they're going to job him out the MVP because he's a running back. When really he probably should win the most valuable player because I feel like the quarterbacks all kind of X each other out. But because the MVP is usually a quarterback award, kind of like the Heisman, they have to find a way to show love to Saquon because no one can deny the impact that he's had on that team, even a greater impact than Derrick Henry on the Ravens, than Joe Mixon on the Texans. It was the year of the running back, and I think that these 3 guys are going to get running backs paid more in free agency as you see the effects they had on the teams that they went to. But I give it to Saquon Barkley, 2,000 yards rushing, man. We saw what he did against Washington. He's like a high school running back. Like when you're in high school, you just like, we don't even throw the ball. We just hand it to Saquon. It's that type of situation against grown men, the best athletes in the world, the best football players in the world. You make them look like high school kids, man. Like he's playing high school ball and you can just give him the ball and we need 10 yards for a first down and Saquon's going to get it. He's just different, man. And I love Joe Mixon, but the Texans almost got Saquon. We were really the first one to add him before the Eagles, but it was just a little difference that Casario had. I think of not even a lot of money, man. They should have did it, but they ended up still doing all right with Mixon. But I compare Mixon and Saquon to like a Ford Raptor and a Ferrari, man. You know the difference. You know, like one of them is very good, it's really sturdy, it's fast, it looks good, and it gets respect when it hit the streets. But the Ferrari is different, and that's how Saquon is. So I'll give it to Saquon because he really deserves the MVP for the year he had, but they're going to give it to a quarterback. So the AP Offensive Player of the Year will be Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, and I think team success, man, because Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase both have excellent arguments as well.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and move on to that MVP. You talked about it being a quarterback award. I'll list off who is in the running for quarterbacks and Saquon. We got Josh Allen, Barkley, Joe Burrow, Jared Goff, Lamar Jackson. And I'm going to bring back, and you guys can go pull the tape. And it was, I can't remember what, week 15, week 16, towards the end of the season, I go, I think this really cemented Josh Allen's MVP. And you told me to pull up the stats, right?
Yeah.
I think other than rushing TDs, Lamar had better stats in every single category.
Yeah.
So the question is, will there be some voter fatigue? Will there be people that look like them? I don't know who's going to win. After our conversation, I'm fine with Lamar winning it. I wouldn't be surprised if Josh Allen wins it, but to me, I think it's a two-man race at this point. You talked about Saquon being a running back, so let's take him out of there. And as good as Burrow and Goff were, because of team success, I think we got to go Allen or Lamar. Just give me who you think will win and who would you choose? That's what I'd like to hear.
Well, by statistics, you got to go with Lamar Jackson because he had one of the best statistical years we've ever seen at quarterback. The touchdown ratio to interception ratio was the greatest of all time. 41 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. Like, that's video game type stuff. Then you go to the completion percentage. Lamar had 66.7%. Josh Allen did 63.6%. Passing yards. Lamar's at 4,172. Josh is at 3,731. Yards per attempt. Lamar's at 8.8. Josh is 7.7. Passing touchdowns. As I said, Lamar's at 41. Josh Allen only had 28. Interceptions. Lamar had 4. Josh had 6 interceptions. But they're trying to say, well, Josh Allen didn't really play 2 games, but Lamar sat out a couple halves too in some games when they were blowing stuff out. So I just feel like they want to give to Josh Allen, but in our reality, let's look at the numbers, man. 28 touchdowns, 6 interceptions is not an MVP season, not in the new standards of the NFL. I feel like Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson should be the 2 to this 4, but because of team success, they're going to look at Josh Allen. But through it all, I feel like everyone's saying that Derrick Henry did so much to help Lamar, but no one's talking about this kid and what he did with the running game, James Cook, to help Josh Allen out. So I don't know, man. It's one of those favoritism awards. Lamar has 915 rushing yards. Josh Allen has half of that, 531. Rushing yards per attempt. Lamar has 6.6. Josh Allen only has 5. Rushing touchdowns, they're trying to use that as the reason because Josh Allen has 12, but he runs a lot of sneaks, a lot of called run plays by the goal line. Lamar only had 4, but we know Lamar doesn't really run by the goal line anymore. They don't really use him since they moved off of their old OC that went to San Diego. They don't really run that anymore. So I don't know, man. It's gonna be a popularity contest. Me personally, by the numbers, I feel like Lamar Jackson was head and shoulders above everyone. I know they're tired of giving it to him, but they're not tired of giving it to Jokic. If the numbers, the first thing people tell you when they're voting for Jokic is look at the numbers. Well, if you're gonna say that, you gotta look at the numbers for Lamar Jackson. He's the MVP.
Yeah, to me, these award discussions sometimes get kind of tiresome because as a Raiders fan, I would take either of those guys. I mean, they're both great. They both deserve to be celebrated. So sometimes people get so – don't even get me started on finals MVP in the NBA. All right, great breakdown for you. And I appreciate all the insight you've given me. But let's move it. Ball and parlay time. Give the people some winners. You want to start? I know what mine is. I'm on the New York Knicks, man. That's my favorite play for tonight. They're just playing so well. And I think that in the NBA, we have to do this a lot of times. You don't take the whole, like, I do think the Nuggets have a better chance to win the NBA championship this year than the Knicks. You know, I do think that they're a better team. But the way the Knicks are playing right now compared to the way the Nuggets are playing right now, factor in the home court advantage, factor in, like you said, this is a regular season game. Those guys go to New York once a year. Give me the New York Knicks -3.
You heard spread. He's going with the Knicks. We both like the Knicks. I'm going to go with a lady who had a time when she actually was in the top 20. She fell off, and now she's finding her game again. That's Jill Teichman. And you remember her,
blast
right?
from the past.
Blast
I've heard her name for a while.
The lefty, man. She's getting her game back. She's been winning. She started at some smaller tournaments, getting her confidence back. And now she's facing Olivia Gadecki. Gadecki is a very inconsistent player. Actually, ranked higher right now than Teichman is at 107, and Teichman is 128. But I think that indoors in Singapore, the Teichman just too sharp as a veteran, and she'll get it done, and she'll be able to work around Gadecki. Gadecki is one of those girls who's streaky. She can get hot and hit some forehand winners and serve okay, but she can't hold the consistency enough, I think, to beat Teichman. I think that Teichman looks across the net at her and thinks that she can get it done, and at -140, that's a really low number. So give me Jill Teichman at Singapore WTA. We're going to roll with her at -140, and I'm also going to roll with Old Faithful. We're rolling with the University of Houston Cougars. First half -4 at West Virginia. Anything for the people spread before we get out of here?
Great show today. Can't wait to talk to you on Friday.
Hey, guys, we got another week to fill in until Super Bowl. Next week, we're going to do all our analysis and start breaking down the game. Friday, we will be back with a friend of the show, our sweet brother Noopsy. Alex Christensen will be here calling in from Philadelphia as the Eagles go to another Super Bowl. He gives us his latest information on Embiid and what's going on with the Sixers organization. And most of all, he stops in to give us those zany props. You know, Noops has some of the zaniest props for Super Bowl. So I look forward to talking to him about that. As always, guys, I dedicate this show to my father, the greatest Houston sports fan that I know, John H. Lindsay. I do this for you, Dad. Guys, we'll be back on Friday with all the props for the Super Bowl. We look forward to seeing you then. This is the Wagering World.